Hi guys, please like, share and subscribe and contact this number if you want lectures related to any CM, CS or CB subjects. Thank you.
So there was this little topic in chapter number 1 that I had left. It was called as Monte Carlo simulation or random number generation. It was actually the last topic of chapter number 1. The reason I had left it is that you could not get a holistic understanding of this topic until and unless you would have studied maximum likelihood estimation and developed some maturity. Now I would explain this method to you. Under maximum likelihood estimation, MLE, or under simply let's say point estimation, what was your agenda? The agenda under point estimation was to take a sample and based on the sample to find the parameters of the distribution that this sample belonged to. Okay, so you were finding distributional parameters based on this sample. Now how could you do it? Either you could take the moments and equate them, or you can apply the maximum likelihood estimation. Now Monte Carlo simulation is just the opposite of this. Okay, how is it opposite? Let's say you have a distribution. Let's say you have a random variable which has a particular distribution with given parameters. Okay, so X has a distribution with parameter theta. Based on this distribution, you want to generate a sample out of this. You want to generate a sample of values. This is your Monte Carlo simulation. We'll repeat it. Under point estimation, you used to take a sample and based on that sample, you used to estimate the distributional parameters. Okay. Under Monte Carlo simulation, you just do the opposite. You take a random variable with a given distribution and you try to generate a sample of values from it. Perfect. Got it? Right. So why do we do this? What's the reason for doing generating a sample of values out of a random variable? The reason is that you want to simulate a bigger process of which this random variable is a part. Okay, let's take an example. Let's say there is a traffic signal. Okay, let's say there is a traffic signal at a crossroads. Okay, here you have got a signal and vehicles are coming from this side. They must be coming from all four sides, but let's assume they are coming from this side. Okay, I'm only modeling one side for now. Okay, so vehicles are coming from this side as a Poisson process. If you remember, vehicles at a signal usually come as a Poisson process. They are coming at a constant rate with a rate of let's say 20 per minute. Okay, so vehicles are coming at a Poisson rate of 20 per minute. Okay, now this is your distribution for X, that is the number of vehicles arriving from this site at this signal. Now what is your task? Your task is to let's say maintain a street light here and you want to find what is the ideal timer. What is the ideal timer that you should give the street light? Like what is the amount of time for which it should remain red, and then what is the amount of time for which it should remain green, so that your traffic is well managed. Okay, so your bigger process that you are trying to model is the street light timing. And you want to find the best process for it, so you want to model this process, okay, of vehicles coming. Okay, so for modeling this street light timing sort of scenario, you would need values of how many vehicles came in a given hour, and so 20 means this is the average rate per minute. So there can be minutes where there are only 12 vehicles. There can be minutes where there are 30 vehicles. Okay, but at an average the rate is 20. Okay, so you would want basically values of different minutes in which a given number of vehicles came in, and how well your process can manage it with given different street light timings. Okay, maybe you decide on 2 street light timings. Maybe you say, let's say, okay, let's keep red for 1 minute and then green for 30 seconds. Okay, or alternatively someone else suggests, okay, let's keep red for 40 seconds and then green for 20 seconds. Let's go by this or this. Okay, so you would want to know that which of these would be a better fit, which would be a better street light timing. Okay, so what you would do is you would simulate, you would take a sample of values from this Poisson distribution. Okay, you can take maybe sample of 10 values, and you can see that how well this traffic is managed, what is the accumulation of vehicles at this signal, if for these 10 different situations. So you would want to generate a sample of 10 values from this random variable which has a Poisson distribution. This can be achieved by Monte Carlo simulation. So before the practical application of any real world process, it is simulated on a computer. That is exactly what we are doing here. So we are trying to model this street light process on a computer, let's say, okay, or on a paper. And for that you need what is the number of vehicles that can come in different minutes. Okay, so for that you need a sample, okay, in order to model it on a computer. And for generating that sample, what would be the 10 different values that you should take for the number of vehicles that have come in, you need Monte Carlo simulation, and you will generate the values, you will generate 10 values from Poisson 20 distribution. Okay, so that is the agenda here. Right now you must understand it's a part of a bigger model, so you want to generate 10 values and see how it works in this bigger model under different situations. Okay, there can be 10s and 20s of such situations, so you can see which situation is the best fit given that the vehicles are coming at a rate of Poisson 20, right? And you can take the same sample of 10 values and you can test it under different situations. So this is your usual agenda for simulating values. Now this should be clear. Now let's get to how do we do it. Okay, so now how do we apply Monte Carlo simulation? We take advantage of one particular fact that any computer can generate pseudo random numbers between 0 and 1. Okay, if you ask a computer, or if you give a computer the order to generate random numbers between 0 and 1, all have an equal probability. So sort of you can think of it like random numbers that are being generated have a uniform 0, 1 distribution. This is a continuous uniform 0, 1 distribution. Lowest value is 0, highest is 1. So any computer can generate pseudo random numbers. Why do I call them pseudo random? Because they are not truly random. Okay, truly random is me randomly saying numbers between 0 and 1. Okay, that is 0.2, 0.5, 0.6 without applying any logic. Okay, but if there is a logic, then they are fake random. So computer can never randomly do stuff. It always needs an algorithm. So computer generates these numbers based on an algorithm, and it can generate numbers between 0 and 1. Even if you see your calculator, it can generate numbers between 0 and 1. You can press shift and you can press this random RAN hash button. This is the dot button, okay, the decimal button. So RAN, you can click equal to, it will generate. Again you press equal to, it will generate another number. All these numbers are randomly generated using an algorithm, and they are all between 0 and 1. Okay, so any computer can do that. You use these random values of uniform 0, 1 distribution, and you equate the pseudo random numbers generated to the CDF of the random variable that you are modeling. Okay, so let's say you had a random variable x which has a Poisson distribution, or let's take a continuous example, exponential distribution with parameter as lambda is equal to anything. Let's say lambda is equal to 1 by 5. Okay, mean is 5. So this is your distribution. Let's say this looks somewhat like this. Okay, so you are taking the CDF of this. Let's plot the CDF of this distribution. So let's say your CDF looks somewhat like this. This is your CDF. Okay, it cannot reduce, it will only increase. So it is increasing but at a reducing rate. Okay, so this is your CDF. Here you are plotting the CDF. Okay, and we know one thing about the CDF, that it is always increasing. Okay, and it always takes a value between 0 and the maximum of it will be 1. Okay, So it models all the values of the random variable. We can take the random variable this side, and all random variable values have a CDF value against them, okay, which is between 0 and 1. So what we do is we equate the uniform values, that is the randomly generated values, to the CDF, because uniform 0, 1 values are also between 0 and 1, and the CDF is also between 0 and 1. In fact, these are inclusive, so between 0 and 1, and CDF is also between 0 and 1. So we equate the two, and corresponding to that pseudo random number, whatever is the value of x, we take that. For example, how does it work? Let's say this is the plotted CDF of an exponential 1 by 5 distribution. Okay, fine. So let's say you generate a random number and it comes out to be 0.6. Okay, so 0.6 you equate it with the CDF. Okay, you equate this value 0.6 with the CDF, and you see on this graph where is 0.6 in the CDF. It's, let's say, here. Against this, you try to connect this here, and you try to see what is the x value. Let's say it is x1. So then x1 is your value for your randomly generated value for the exponential distribution. Okay, so you generate another value. Let's say you generate a value and it comes out to be 0.432. Okay, so you take 0.432, where is it, and you try to find another value corresponding to it. This is x0, maybe this also has an exponential distribution. So first you generate the random numbers from the uniform 0, 1 distribution, and against that you check what are the exponential distribution values. Okay, let's say you check another value, it comes out to be 0.9. So against it, what is the value? Let's call it x2. Okay, these all have an exponential distribution. So step one is to find or generate pseudo random numbers from uniform 0, 1 distribution. This is step 1, right? Step 2 is to equate CDF to the randomly generated values and invert them to find random variable values. What do I mean by this? So let's say you are generating different values. So u is equal to fxx, right? You're just equating the values, the CDF to this value u. Okay, let's say this is a randomly generated value. Now once you have equated these two, what do? You invert this CDF. So you say that x, what will x be equal to? You have to send this on the other side. So x will be equal to f inverse u. So you invert the CDF to find the value of x. That is exactly what we are doing here. Okay, the CDF, we are saying it is u. So how will I find x? X will be the value of x corresponding to this value of u. So that is just f inverse u. So invert the CDF. We'll see how do we do that practically in our questions, right? So you have to invert this to find the value. So these are the two steps, and that's how you apply it. We'll see the discrete case and the continuous case of application of this. Okay, so yeah, let's take an example here. So let's say the CDF, if you remember the CDF of the exponential distribution, what is it? 1 minus e to the power of minus lambda x, right? So what will you do? You will express this in terms of u. Okay, and then you will try to and u, the value you already know. So how will you invert this? You will take it as e to the power of minus lambda x is equal to 1 minus u, right? Then you will take log on both sides. So minus lambda x is equal to log of 1 minus u, and finally x is equal to the value I generate is equal to log of 1 minus u divided by minus lambda. This you can call as f inverse u. So you find a value x which is f inverse u, And this expression, in this expression, you can put in different values of u and you can generate corresponding values of x. Okay, so you put in different values of u and generate different values of x, and that is how you work it out. Okay, so theoretically it should be clear to you. Let's do a few questions here. Okay, so let's take this very straightforward question here. Simulate three values from an exponential 0.1 distribution. Using the values, these three values are given from uniform 0, 1 distribution. So these three values become my CDF. These are the u values, and based on this I want to generate values from exponential 0.1 distribution, right? So how does it work? See, you know your fx x is equal to 1 minus e to the power of minus lambda x. Okay, and you equate it to u. Okay, these have to be your CDF, has to be the u values. Okay, now you'll just do what you did in the last question. Okay, this inversion. So e to the power of minus lambda x is equal to 1 minus u, and obviously taking log on both sides, minus lambda x is equal to log of 1 minus u, and x is equal to log of 1 minus u by minus lambda. Okay, now that you have this, you need to put in these three values here in this in order to get the x values. So the first value will be, lambda is clear, lambda is 0.1. So that is clear. Exponential 0.1 is the distribution. Instead of lambda, you could have used 0.1 directly. Okay, so this is it, and now you just put in these values. So how does it work? The first one will be, you'll have to take a log of, sorry, let's make the quotient first. Log of 1 minus u. What is u? 0.113. Okay, divided by, what do I take in the denominator? Minus 0.1. Cool. Press equal to. How much does it turn out to be? 1.199. This is your first value. Okay, very easy. Second value, you have to replace this 0.113 with 0.608. So that's it. That's how you do it. Okay, 0.608. Press equal to 9.365. Similarly, you can put in the third value here into this equation. Okay, and find your value. Okay, so that's how you do it. This is a question from your book itself. Let's move on to a complicated example. Let's see how things change with the normal distribution. Okay, after the last question, I think we should try this one. Okay, this is another very simple question. Generate three random values from uniform 1, minus 1, 4 using the following random values from uniform 0, 1. So this time you are given that your distribution x, the random variable, follows a uniform minus 1, 4 distribution, and you want to generate values from this, random values, three random values from it. Based on these values which come out of pseudo random numbers which come out of uniform 0, 1. So you're given three numbers, you want to generate this. So again, the method is similar. First you have to take the CDF. Okay, so what is the CDF of continuous uniform distribution? Let's see. If you remember, the PDF fxx will be equal to 1 upon b minus a. So it will be 1 upon 4 minus minus 1. It will be 1 by 5. This is your PDF. So what is your CDF? CDF just becomes integrating from, you will have to start from the lowest value, that is minus 1, all the way up till, you know, you'll have to take x. Okay, so from the lowest value till x, the probability of taking a value up to x, and 1 by 5 dx, or I would rather integrate in terms of dy. This just becomes y by 5 taking in values minus 1 and x. Okay, let's put in these values. This just becomes x plus 1 by 5. Okay, so x, you put minus 1 by 5. X plus 1 by 5 is your CDF. Now what is your method? Method is to equate the CDF to u and invert it. Okay, so if this is u, then x is equal to 5u minus 1. This is what? This is f inverse u. And now you can use this expression to find out the randomly generated values. You will put this, this and this into this expression in place of u. These are the three u values, right? So you'll put these three u values in this place, and you will find the three randomly generated values. So what are these values? It will just be the first one I'll write for you, 5 into 0.07 minus 1. Okay, and so on and so forth. You can do for 3. Okay, so yeah, that is how these questions work. Now that I've given you 2 examples, now let's move on to the next type of questions. It's a bit different, the next type of questions. Okay, now let's start with discrete distributions. So in this case, how do you apply Monte Carlo simulation? So it's very easy actually. It's a similar approach, but you know, it looks a bit different on the graph. If you will see, you have to start with the cumulative distribution function as we did in the continuous case. So what is your CDF? What does it look like? Until the first value it's 0, then the first value comes, it takes some value. Let's say at 1 you have some probability, at 2 you have some probability, 3 and 4. Okay, let's say 4 is the highest probability that this distribution can take. Here you have your CDF, right? So now the probability of taking a value to 1 is this, okay, till 2 no value can come, then you have this. So this is a step function, if you remember from the first chapter, right? Okay, even from the random variables class. And after this will just rise at 4 for the last time, and then go on like this till infinity. So this is what your you know, CDF looks like. Now you'll generate random values of u and you'll equate them to the CDF. So let's say u turns out to be 0.2. Okay, so you will take u as 0.2. So you will see where is u is equal to 0.2. Let's say you have it here, u is equal to 0.2. Okay, so it's coming out to be here. Okay, so now what is your corresponding value? It is 2. Okay, so how does it work? It's just, you see that 2 is the value, okay, which has a CDF of just higher than the value u. So the value or the value of x which has a CDF immediately higher than this value of the probability is your corresponding value that you generate. Okay, if let's say u is equal to 0.5 and u is equal to 0.5 comes somewhere here. Okay, so your value will be 4, its CDF will be just higher than this. Okay, so something like this works in. Okay, so you have to see where does u lie, and if you see that fx at x1 is less than u and fx at x2 is greater than u, okay, if u is between fx x1 and fx x2, then basically u is the value, and the value that you will take will be the value immediately after it, which has a CDF just bigger than this. Okay, so your generated value will be x2 because it has a CDF just bigger than u. Okay, so x2 is your generated value. Okay, so that is what you have to see, right? Let's take a formal example and let's see how it works. Okay, so let's consider this question. Simulate two random values from a Poisson 2 distribution with the random values 0.721 and 0.128. So it's fairly straightforward. You just have to list the CDF of Poisson 2 distribution. Either you can calculate the CDF, or the best way is that it's given in the tables. So let's go to the tables and see the CDF. So this is the CDF, and now you see this is the Poisson 2 row. Okay, let me zoom in on this one. Okay, this is the Poisson 2 row. So if you see here, these are the various values. Against 0 you have a probability of having a value less than equal to 0 is 0.13534, less than equal to 1 is 0.40601, so on and so forth. It will go on till almost 9 where it, 9 where it almost becomes 1. Okay, right. So now I have to see what is the value of the CDF which is immediately greater than the two given values. Okay, so if you see 0.721, what is the CDF value immediately greater than this? Okay, so see 0.677668 is less than 0.721. After that you have got 0.85712. This is immediately greater than 0.721, right? So since the CDF is between the given U value is between CDF at 2 and 3, your result would be 3. So you would say against this value, you can just say that 0.721 is between fx2 and fx3. So this implies that x is equal to 3. The value of x which is immediately after it, right? That's the technique I told you. For 0.128, where is 0.128 located? Okay, it is 128 is even less than the CDF at value 0. Okay, so you can say that 0.128 is less than fx0. So this implies that x is equal to 0. So these are the two generated values, as simple as this. Okay, this is how you solve such questions. Let's look at one more. Okay, so now let's take the next question. Generate 3 random values from a binomial 4, 0.6 distribution using the following random values of uniform 0, 1 distribution, right? You have got 3 values, 0.588, 0.222 and 0.906. So you have to see the CDF of binomial 4, 0.6. Again, this is given in the tables. So let's look at this one. Binomial, right? So after Poisson, I think you have binomial. Yeah, binomial starts here. You have to see for p is equal to 0.6 and n is equal to 4. Okay, so n is 4, right? P is equal to 0.6. Okay, so now you have to see for different values of x. X can be 0, 1, 2 or 3, right? And at 4 it would be 1. Right, the CDF would be 1 because obviously in a binomial distribution you are modeling the number of successes in 4 trials here. Okay, so maximum number of successes in 4 trials can be 4. So by 4 you will have a CDF of 1. Right, now let us look at our generated values. Okay, so generated value is 0.588. 588, if you see, I'm taking 0.6, right? So 0.6 is right here. These are the 4 values that I'm looking at. Okay, so 0.588. 588 is just smaller than x is equal to 3. The CDF at x is equal to 3, right? So this would be my generated value, right? So I'd just say that 0.588 belongs to fx at 2 and fx at 3, which implies x is equal to 3 is my first generated value. Then you have 0.222. 0.222 is again no, this one is between f1 and f2. So fx1 is less than 0.222 is less than fx2. So generated value is x is equal to 2 this time, right? Right. Yeah. The last one is 0.906. 906 is even bigger than fx at 3. So it's say fx at 3 is smaller than 0.906, right? Which is less than fx at 4. So the last value is x is equal to 4. These are your 3 generated values corresponding to these different uniform distribution values. So that is how this entire topic functions. Okay, and that's all for this one.